Would you all please be seated? Prime Minister, Your Excellency, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I am your MC for the morning. I am Reena, Rami's eldest daughter, and I have had a role in the family business since my single-digit years. During that time, I've held a variety of positions, and in my more literate years, I have been operations staff, the entire Department of Sea Freight Rest of the World, head of departments with more than just me in it, technical support, research and development sales, and as much as I would like to say that that is testament to my sheer magnitude of competence and ability, it serves more as an indication as to how we have evolved and grown over the past few decades. But my father, who, Prime Minister, I know may have mentioned to you on more than one occasion, wanted me to remind you that I am a district councillor and a Conservative one, and I'm also on the candidates list. It just goes to show you that however people describe him, he is first and foremost a family man, proud of his family, and has always told us that we were his driving force. There are no words to describe what an honour and privilege it is to have you with us here today. So I did what many of our generation do and asked Google, and used the words of a few others to try to begin to articulate the sheer momentousness of this day that I remind my children of, and they will tell their children of, the day the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom came to our office. A dream doesn't become reality through magic. It takes sweat, determination, and hard work. All our dreams can come true if we have the courage to pursue them. Aspiration is the hunger to fill our dreams and visions, and when we aspire to a goal, any goal, that aspiration guides our decisions and directs our energy. Quite often it also rallies others to the same goal, then becomes the focus of shared efforts and satisfaction. Today, what you see before you is the culmination of one man's dream, hard work, courage, aspiration, and the shared efforts of many. I would now like to ask my dad, the chairman and founder of Sierra Land Forwarding and Sunmark Limited, to come and say a few words. Thank you.
Honourable Prime Minister, His Excellency, parliamentarians, family and friends, I'm greatly honoured to have our Prime Minister, the Right Honourable David Cameron, MP, with us today. Prime Minister, I cannot thank you enough for taking time out of your incredibly busy diary to fulfil promise you made that if we won the 5th Queen's Award, you will present it personally. Great people make ordinary people feel great and encourage them to achieve greater things in life. Prime Minister, you have boosted our morale and self-esteem by being here, and we are most grateful. We know that you have to win the next election to finish the work you started 4 years ago of putting Britain in its rightful place, leading the world. We also know how incredibly hard you fight for Britain and take difficult decisions which many people cannot understand or appreciate at times, but eventually they do. We are privileged to have you as our Prime Minister, who has dedicated his life in serving the nation with whatever it takes. We wish you every success in your endeavours. Winning the 5th Queen's Award was very difficult, but the incentive of receiving the award from you motivated us all immensely. You can imagine how much harder it becomes to grow the business by further 30% after having received 4 consecutive Queen's Awards on the basis of an unprecedented growth. We nearly died. Our turnover was 110 million and we needed to achieve staggering 40 million more to win. We exhibited our product in China, Singapore, USA, India, Germany, France, Japan, in fact all over the world, because they say hidden talent is no talent. If you have it, you broadcast it and tell the world what product, what services you can bring and what benefit you can bring on the table. The result is in front of us all, and I have no word to explain or how I feel, as it is a dream come true. I can recall going to Buckingham Palace for my first Queen's Award in 1999 with my wife dressed as Bollywood Queen in our battered cortina. I drove right into the palace like a head of state, but soon I was brought down to earth when the guard said, "Driver, you can stay here with the car and the lady can go in." I replied, "I'm also here with my wife to meet the Queen." This just shows how far I have come with the help of our customers, suppliers and colleagues who are here with me to share this honor. I started my first company with just £2 capital and a typewriter from a rented shed. Now we have presence in 115 countries and in the process of reclaiming British Empire. I wish my mother, who brought me up single-handedly, was alive to see me receive this honor. I did not have a father, let alone a rich one, as my father was assassinated before my birth for opposing the breakup of India on the basis of religion. I did not have family wealth, as we became refugees in our own country due to the partition of India and were reduced to living in refugee camp. I could not afford an elite education, as my mother worked as a teacher in a primary school. Nor did I have the old schoolboy network to help me in life as an immigrant, except the British sense of tolerance and fair play. As a result, an ordinary immigrant like me could realize his ambition and become an asset for his family and adopted country. So you can understand why I had tears in my eyes when His Royal Highness Prince Charles made me a fellow of his Prince's Trust to inspire underprivileged youth. I now mentor them by telling them that, like me, they do not need a rich father or an elite education to succeed in life. However, they do need to follow 5 golden principles, and they are self-respect, work ethics, commitment, vision, and empathy. I am probably the only one in Britain to have received honor from Her Majesty the Queen on 7 occasions, and that too on merit. 6 times for business and once personally for community service, and was made member of British Empire in 2005. This was only possible because from the moment I arrived in the UK, I sought to integrate. Those who look back cannot look forward. I retained my religion and culture, but adopted the best of what Britain had to offer. As a result, I lost nothing but gained much more, and the result is in front of you. By adopting British values, which made Britain great, anyone can achieve success. Everyone who lives in Britain becomes a part of Britain, and as a result, must move in the same direction to build a cohesive society to benefit everyone, including our next generation. Let's take example of scaffolding. Each steel bar is held together for a common purpose. The result is strong structure which allows progress to take place. However, if each steel bar was allowed to point in whichever direction it chose, then it would be nothing more than a mess. Loyalty to Britain is prerequisite for success. Nowhere in the world can we enjoy freedom and opportunity as we do in Britain. I would like to thank my wife Renu for supporting me when I had nothing. I would also like to thank my staff for believing in me and sharing my vision and giving me their loyalty and commitment. My son-in-law Harmeet, Ahuja, Mohan Khurana and Ray Perkins have taken the business to the next level. Finally, I'm proud to be British Indian and among those who from these tiny islands have touched the lives of almost everyone in the world and continue to do so. Brits are great people and always stand for human freedom and pay supreme sacrifice to make this world a better place for everyone. Thank you, Prime Minister, once again for making this day very special for me, and I shall cherish this forever. And I'm also grateful to His Excellency Ranjan Mathai, the High Commissioner of India, for gracing this special occasion at a very short notice and bearing witness to how a non-resident Indian has brought honor to India and its adopted country, Britain. Thank you. I would now like to present you the Prime Minister. He needs no introduction. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you, Rami. And Rami has asked me several times, would I present his 5th Queen's Export Award, and I promised that I would. And I wanted, it may have taken time, but I have kept my promise, Rami, and I wanted to be here. You've already reminded me of something, which is Rina, apart from probably working illegally under the age of 10, but we'll pass over that. We don't want Keith Vaz to summon you to the Home Affairs Select Committee for an inquiry, but what you've reminded us is the sooner that you come to the House of Commons and share in our deliberations, the better for the whole country and for representation in our country. Now, there are really 3 reasons why I'm so pleased to be here today, and the first, Rami, is you. You are an extraordinary success story, an extraordinary business success story, to go from a business with £2 of capital in a shed to a business trading all over the world, employing many people in this country, winning awards for exports. It really is a great story of British enterprise, and one that you should be incredibly proud of. But you don't just leave it at what you do in business. You've also been a real icon for your community, and you've also helped to bring communities together. A founding member of the British Hindu Forum, chairman of the British Sikh Association. You believe in interfaith dialogue, you believe in bringing people together. And what you've just said about integration in our country and British values in our country, I think is one of the clearest and most inspiring statements I've heard about that in many, many years. So I wanted to be here because of you and everything that you stand for and everything that you've achieved. But the second reason is what we're celebrating today, which is export success, is absolutely vital for our country. Today in Britain, 1 in 5 of our small and medium-sized enterprises exports. If we could change from 1 in 5 to 1 in 4, we would wipe out our trade deficit altogether. So what you're engaged in is an absolutely vital part of our economic effort and our long-term economic plan for the country. And we're seeing real success. We're seeing our exports to China, to India, to Mexico, Latin America, parts of Africa increase sometimes by as much as 100% over the last 4 years. And the work that you're doing is absolutely vital. Now, these Queen's Awards for exports, I've got something in common with them, which is that we've both been around since 1966. I'm sorry that normally you're given a Queen's Award for export by a Lord Lieutenant on behalf of Her Majesty. And I'm only sorry that you just got to put up with a humble Prime Minister today, rather than having the royal connection. But what you've done to win 5 in a row is an immense achievement, and it really is testament to your effort, your enterprise, and your ingenuity. The third reason I'm very keen to be here today is that I think we're at a really golden moment in 2 quite vital relations. One is the contribution that British Asians are making to our country in business, in politics, in sport, in public life. We see that coming on in leaps and bounds. And your example is a fantastic example to others. People do look to role models. They look to others and see, if they can do that, I can do that too. Now, in business, the British Asian community has always kicked the ball out of the park, absolutely shot the lights out, and again you show that. We need the same to happen in politics, in the law, in our military, on our sports fields, in our cultural life. It's happening more and more. It's something we can celebrate in our country, but it's something we need to see more of. Now, the other side of that relationship is actually the relationship between Britain and the countries of the subcontinent. India, obviously, we're talking about today. Those relationships are getting stronger, and I see real opportunities, particularly with the new Indian government recently elected, to take the relationship between Britain and India, which has always been strong, and I've tried to strengthen it during my Prime Ministership, travelling to India more than to any other country other than Belgium, but I have to go to Brussels rather more often than some might like, so that doesn't count in quite the same way, and building that special relationship between Britain and India, which I am so committed to. But if you put all these things together, Rami, I think what today is really about is something that I would call the British dream. People often talk about the American dream, that you can go from anywhere in that amazing country to the highest position in the land. We need the equivalent of that here in Britain. And I think in many ways you exemplify that dream. Starting in the course of really one generation, in business from the bottom to the top, in public life from the bottom to the top, and building a family that has incredible values at its heart. I wrote down what you said in your remarks about taking the best of British values while maintaining your own culture. You said you lost nothing and gained so much. By taking the best of British values, you could achieve your dreams as a result. Not just in business, but in your other contributions to public life. And Rami, I think that is such a great message for our country today. Really, we want to build a stronger economy. That's absolutely vital. But we don't want to stop there. We want to build a stronger, more united, more prosperous, more harmonious country. That is the British destiny. That is the British dream. And you showed today what an absolutely vital and iconic part of that you are. So thank you for what you've done. Congratulations on this award today. Thank you for inviting me today, and I look forward to coming back for the 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th. Rami, let's have a round of applause. Very good.
Thank you very much. We would like
Could I please ask Chief Ukeji to please come to stage? He's one of our He's one of our business partners in Nigeria, and we would like to present him with an award for outstanding performance. And finally, could I just please ask His Excellency Ranjan Matai, the High Commissioner of India, to come on stage and say a few words. Thank you.
Mr. Prime Minister, honorable members of Parliament, Rami Ranger, his family, colleagues, friends. I'm normally present when when awards are being given to Indian exporters, not to people who export to India. But I'm immensely proud of your achievements, and that is why I'm here. I'm also very encouraged by the fact that under this Prime Minister, our two governments have set themselves the target of doubling trade between our two countries. Well, by next year, maybe it'll slip by a year, but we are getting there. And we have a huge relationship both in trade and investment, which our two countries are working on together. But I'm also extraordinarily proud of you, Rami, and you as a symbol of all that the Indian community has achieved in this country. The extraordinary effort, through sheer grit and hard work, they have achieved great distinction. And since we were quoting Americans, may I say, you sum up in a way what an American president asked his people. Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. And you have demonstrated that. I'd also like to say that while praising the extraordinary achievements of the Indian community, we do recognize that it is on a level playing field they have received in this country, not just through its laws, its regulations, which have helped, but also its values and its way of life. So a big tribute both to you and to the society which has given you this opportunity. Thank you, sir.
Just like to thank you all for being here with us today, and the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom to coming and gracing us with his presence. Thank you so much.